here we go.
Evening, Andrew.
What's up, Brad?
Not too much.
Welcome to episode 125 of On Off Topic. So, Conquest is back together, I hear.
Define back together.
Well, it moves now on its own power.
It does move on
I don't
its
think
own
we
power.
covered between the other episode. No, maybe we did.
We talked about fixing the brake line. We talked about getting the wrong clutch.
Right.
That's where we ended it.
Right. And then I got really sick with a head cold. So then my dad helped you put the car back together.
Mm-hmm.
And it now moves.
It at least moves 1 foot forward and 1 foot backwards. I haven't driven it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get there eventually.
Way better than it was before. So that it totally was the clutch.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, no question.
Yeah. But it's got new clutch hydraulics.
Yep,
so that's
one
good.
less thing to worry about.
Yeah, you just got to double check the brakes because they seem to be sticking.
So I'm going to drive it up and down the street a few times, I think, and see exactly if maybe they're just sticking from sitting and they'll maybe free up a little bit, because it potentially could happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you can also pull all the slides and lube them up.
Mm-hmm. So
and flush all the fluid out of the entire system.
We thought the car needed an engine.
Yeah.
Because it was making a bottom end noise.
Yep.
I didn't think it sounded that bad. You didn't think it sounded that bad.
No, especially when it came off the trailer.
Right.
Because
we thought maybe it was a top end noise.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But it sounded like normal valve train noise, mechanical valve train.
Maybe a little louder than normal.
Not even. To me, it didn't.
Well, the car has hydraulic lifters and stuff, so
okay.
It shouldn't make that kind of noise.
No, it's... To me, my ears, it sounded normal.
I've had a few of these cars. It sounded a little louder than normal.
I guess.
But it turns out that the noises we've been hearing the whole time were bits and pieces of friction material inside the bell housing.
Now, I actually didn't hear that at all, because at the point that it had come off the trailer, all of the friction material had exited the clutch.
But it was still sitting inside that housing. So that's what we were hearing the whole time.
I didn't hear it at all.
Oh.
The one time you had it running off the trailer, I was like, there's nothing wrong with this engine.
Right.
So
I could still hear it, but it was pieces inside that bell housing. Maybe you weren't listening in the right place, but it was definitely there.
Yeah.
So the whole noise was the clutch coming apart.
Yeah.
So unbeknownst to us, the car was going to need a clutch, and the car needed a clutch. So obviously, last episode...
But it's not an engine.
No. In fact, it's back together, running strong. Last episode, we had the wrong clutch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly know what the deal is. I think that the listing, most places, is wrong.
Probably.
Because I think it's for a non-intercooled car,
and
so it's a little bit smaller.
Yeah, and then there's not enough of people buying these parts
to
bother having it corrected.
It's a known fact that the battery listings are wrong.
Yeah.
So the car is supposed to have a Group 58 battery.
Yeah.
And all the listings say Group 25. Which Group 25 is like really small. It doesn't make any sense to put in that car because it's a huge spot for it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's well known and documented that the listings are all just wrong and they've never been changed.
They were wrong in the 80s and then they just never got changed.
Correct. So they're still wrong, but if you have a Conquest or a Starion,
that happens every now and then. It can be annoying. So it's super important to...
Especially on an older car that parts are hard to find for.
Yeah.
And you order a clutch and pay for shipping to get it to your house, and you take the car apart to put the clutch in, and then your clutch is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I did manage to source one locally. Actually, my local AutoZone was able to get me a Vallejo.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm totally fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I called them up, and I was like, all right, I need a clutch for this car.
After they stopped laughing.
They're pretty used to me by now. So she goes, okay. She looks it up, and she goes, all right, I have a, whatever AutoZone's brand is.
Duralast?
Duralast, yeah. So I have a Duralast I can get for tomorrow. It's $125. And I was like, is there any other brand listed? I really don't want to put a Duralast clutch in. It's probably fine. It could be a Reeboks Vallejo for all I know. But I'd rather put a name brand part like that when it's something that is hard to change.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a battery, fine. Give me a Duralast battery. Brake pad's fine. Whatever.
Ideally, on a Mitsubishi or most Japanese cars, an Exidi is the factory clutch.
Yes. Unfortunately, there was no way to get an
Yeah.
Exedi in a timely manner.
Just a
They exist,
yeah.
or Exedi or Exedi, whatever it is.
Just a fact for people.
Yeah, they're hard to get. Not hard to get if you're prepared to get it, but if I'd wanted to get an Exedi, I would have gotten it earlier. But I'd already gotten the wrong clutch, which I think might have been. No, it was a Luke.
Yeah.
But anyway, a Vallejo is a name brand. I'm better with a Vallejo. So I said, do you have any other name brands in stock? And she goes, well, I have a Vallejo. It's going to take, I'll have it tomorrow at like 2 o'clock. I'm like, that's fine. How much is that one? She goes, oh, that one's $78. And I was like, yeah, please give me the name brand over the Duralast for $25 less.
Yeah.
So I did get the Vallejo clutch for it, which makes me happy. So, again, I don't know how well it's going to work. I'm sure it's going to work just fine. But it's in the car. It makes the car move.
And
so.
the main fuel line from the filter to the injector throttle body
Needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
So
We thought it was the O-ring,
it's not. It was the O-ring,
and it was also the line.
but the line is also seeping. Yes.
Yeah, where it crimps into the.
Um,
Did you find one, or I think we can
I
adapt?
haven't found yet. I kind of forgot about it.
We
Today.
can adapt the DSM one I have because it's very, very close.
Very close. Yeah. All the fittings are the same too.
Yeah.
Couple other things went through with the car when I wasn't there when you took it apart because I had some family stuff going on. You had an issue taking the shifter out of the car because somebody had put a short shifter in it.
Yeah.
And when they put the bolts in it, they had these like super long bolts
With crazy spacers.
but one of them had 12 washers stacked up on top of them. The other one had a literal lug nut
Yeah.
put on the bolt as a spacer. With some washers. So I wanted to get rid of those,
Yeah.
obviously. Now, I found out the reason why they had those on there.
Yeah.
Because the aftermarket shifter, the short shifter that was in there, had a plate on it, like an aluminum plate.
Yeah, it's thicker.
It was much thicker than the factory thin sheet metal one.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the factory bolts weren't long enough. So they used whatever they could find with the right thread. Thankfully, your father has quite a selection of hardware in the garage. And he has boxes of the 8mm metric bolts that I needed. So
You can put a short shifter in the Raider.
I wouldn't be able to reach.
Lean over.
I would have put that short shifter back in the car, except somebody modified the handle
To make it even shorter.
to make it even shorter, and they literally cut the threads off and just jammed the shift knob on top. So if the short shifter was not hacked, I just would have put it back in the car. It would have been fine. But so for now, it's got a factory shifter in it, which is not the end of the world. There's actually a couple of companies out there still producing short shifters for the car. So if I wanted one, I could put one in the car.
It also didn't have the accordion boot anymore.
Did not have the accordion boot. I imagine at some point in this particular car's life, it probably had a Crown Royal boot.
Ooh,
Looking-
it's purple.
Yeah.
You should put one in.
I'm not going to, no. But
I might.
looking at the rest of the stickers on the car, the Hoonigan sticker and the couple of stickers that were on the car and some of the parts that are on the car, I imagine that it probably had a
The
Crown
mark
Royal
of a
boot.
quality build
It's a
is
Crown Royal boot. Yeah, it's not. I will find an accordion boot for it because it's way cooler. I do need to find an entire interior for the car. We talked about that before because the interior is kind of roached. It's the worst part of the car.
Yeah.
Every panel, every seat, everything has got some kind of damage on it. So rather than try to make it half work, I'd like to find a wrecked or a rotted car with a nice interior and purchase the whole entire interior and swap it over. Ideally in maroon because the car has got a maroon interior. So maroon 88, 89. But I'm open to whatever. If anybody knows of anything local that we can rob parts out of.
You just need a taillight.
I have a taillight coming,
Oh, cool.
so no worries there. So, fun fact.
Front bumper cover? Or you just gonna fix that
I
when it's on
have
there?
a front bumper cover already, so I don't need one of those. But I will need another one for other things, so I bet you I get whatever. I don't need one in emergency status. I have one. I have a nice red one. So,
With a beam?
no beam.
Just use that beam.
The beam in the car is fine. It's notched for the notched bumper, but it's
Yeah.
still complete and it's not rusty. The problem is all of those beams in New England are rusty. So it's hard to find a good one. So you got to make one, which is not a big deal either. Anyway, so fun fact, car runs now. Went through everything. Started testing things in the car now that it's running. Went to put the windows down, window wouldn't go down.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, it's on lock because it has regular and lock, like a power window lock for children. Not that there's any power windows that go down the back, so it's weird, but anyway, so it's on lock. Oh, perfect. I switched it to normal, and they still wouldn't go down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Turn the marker lights on. All the marker lights worked. Turn the headlights on. No headlights. No high beams. No fog lights. No dash lights. Radio works.
Huh.
No HVAC. It's got that electronically controlled heating system.
Yeah.
Didn't light up, didn't do anything.
Hmm.
So I'm like, this is probably not good. So, because I've been dumb in the past and not gone to the fuse box first, I said, I'm going to check the fuse box. The fuse box has space for probably 15 fuses, 16 fuses. It might have 6 in it.
Weird.
Yeah. So I'm assuming I have to find a lid because there's no lid for it, or at least a schematic from which goes where and what size they are.
I think I saw the lid on the other side of the interior the other day.
Is it in there somewhere?
Yeah.
I haven't cleaned the car out yet. That was going to be my plan tonight, but it's running too late tonight. So
Yeah, I think it's.
I'll do that
I
tomorrow.
think it's on the passenger seat.
Okay, anyway, so I need to figure out what size fuses go and where, and reload the fuse box, because literally it has a third of the fuses it should have.
That's weird.
It's very weird. So that's kind of annoying. There is some hacked up wiring I already noticed.
You can fix that.
I assumed it was from stereo equipment, because there was definitely a big stereo stuff in the car, because it has a huge red power cable that runs through the firewall.
Yeah.
So I assume most of the hacked up wiring I can see is that.
Yeah.
Also, the AC was removed from the car, so there's lots of dead ends of wiring there for that.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing I figured out last night, working on the car, and actually talking to our friend Ron, who's also currently restoring his car, I was looking at it. We discussed this the other day, that it had a normal, like, flex fan.
Yeah.
In a shroud.
Yep.
But the clutch was gone.
Yeah, it was just like a solid piece, like a hot rod part.
Right. Do you know why there was no clutch?
Because they took it off.
Because there was never a clutch.
They didn't have clutch fans in these cars?
They had electric fans.
What?
So, if you look at the shroud that's in the car,
Yeah.
it doesn't fit.
What?
There's these two big lugs on the back of the radiator
Yeah.
that are in the way of the shroud around the fan.
So, did
And on those lugs, the electric fans go.
someone took like the shroud and like fan assembly off of like a Raider or something?
Yeah, some other Mitsubishi that had that assembly.
Yeah, like the Sapporo has a clutch fan,
Mm-hmm. As does the Raider.
and these didn't have clutch fans.
No, they didn't have clutch fans. They had
I
electric
thought
fans.
they did.
They had two fans on the back of the radiator.
So the white car doesn't have a clutch fan?
Nope. I went and looked afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
That's an 84.
It's got a fan on the back and then a fan on the front, which is for the AC.
So, the 88 would have had two fans on the back,
Oh.
and then one on the front for the AC.
Hmm.
So, my assumption is when they pulled the AC out of the car, they might have damaged something and just ripped it all out and put a normal fan on there. Or the electric fan wasn't pulling enough air.
So they took the condenser out too?
Condenser's gone, yeah.
It's like... It literally... Okay, so for young car enthusiasts listening to this, don't waste time ripping air conditioning out of cars that aren't ever going to be like a true race car.
No need for it.
Like it literally doesn't save you that much. You could
And it makes,
if it
much
doesn't
more work in the future.
if it doesn't work, you could take the compressor out
Right.
and put it aside because that's kind of heavy. But everything else, just leave it there.
I wouldn't even take the compressor out. I'd leave the compressor so you don't wind up losing it and all the hardware. Just put a shorter belt in the car.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. You're going to do anyway.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, rant over. So I need to find also a parts car that has the proper fan setup.
Well,
the car needs a radiator anyway.
Yeah, that's a great radiator though.
It is a factory radiator.
It's weird. It's leaking from the petcock area.
Yeah, I'm just going to replace it.
Yeah.
I'll
Looks
probably
kind
just
of corroded and green.
I'll probably just get. They make an aluminum one that fits the car. It's not
That's the
very
best
much
way to
money.
go.
I figure that way to get the best amount of cooling for the car. And I'm not worried about the factory style fans not pulling enough air if it's an old crap radiator. Because possibly that's one of the reasons they changed it and put a more efficient mechanical fan on it, maybe. I don't know. But I need to fix it. So all of this sounds like the car is a giant piece of turd, but it's really not. It's really a nice car. The car has no rust. It's been painted at least once, not wonderfully. I'll take care of that too. But I'm pretty excited because the car is actually going to be pretty nice, I think, when we're done with it, without spending a ton of money on it.
It's a good driver.
I was putting the, math. I was doing the math the other day of what I'm into the car for, and I'm literally into the car for less than $500, including renting a trailer to go get it.
Yeah.
So, really can't complain.
Nope.
So that's a good thing. So it's coming along. I'll do some electrical work tomorrow. Put the fuses in, see exactly what's going on. Maybe I'll rip everything out of the interior just to see what I have, exactly what I need. But I think an ideal situation would be to find an entire 88, 89 interior from a different car. So
Probably were sunroofs common?
88, 89 are pretty common, yeah.
Try to find a new because they pop out, right?
I think so.
Because the seal looks pretty roached. So if you can find a decent sunroof,
I'm not
with
sure
a
if that seal is on the roof or on the sunroof.
It's on the
or
glass.
On the glass.
Yeah.
So I might be able to talk to a glass guy. He might have some kind of universal seal to put on there too.
Oh yeah, because it needs a windshield too.
Yeah. I'll talk to Brian.
Is it hard to get windshields for cars like this?
You know, I haven't had to. So I haven't had to since like 2004.
See,
it wasn't a problem then, but it's not 2004 anymore.
That's my next greatest fear with these cars is
yeah.
glass. Because ECUs people can replicate and build standalones.
Mechanical parts, you can't find brake calipers, you can adapt something else.
Yeah, and with 3D printing, you can make new trim parts.
Yep.
That's going to be a thing in the future.
It already is a thing.
It's going to be a lot more common.
Yeah.
But glass is really worrisome for like...
It's very expensive to make custom glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to hope that they've got glass that's been sitting in a warehouse for 30 years.
It's not broken, it hasn't been thrown away.
Yeah.
So that makes me more nervous in my earlier cars, like the 70s Colts, because those cars weren't well supported when they were new.
I mean, I know Rob Siegel, who I used to work with, plays with a lot of old 2002s all the time.
Right.
Like, he's pulled windshields out of other 2002s to put them into 2002s.
To save them, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also a sketchy proposition.
Yes.
So.
The piano wire involved.
Yeah.
It's it's not ideal.
No.
Because it worries me because, like, the glass is really pitted.
Mm-hmm.
And I do drive it a lot, so it's entirely possible it could get a crack.
Yeah, easily. And that would actually be a harder glass to take out of another car because it's not as old style. It's a more modern glass.
Yeah, so it's epoxied in place.
And it's not like, you can buy a new glass for a 68 Camaro. You can buy a new glass for a 57 Chevy.
Yeah,
they're common.
And then the way those are sealed in, it's usually like a rubber push-in seal.
But what I'm saying is they make them now.
Yeah.
Because they're common enough. I mean, you can even probably buy a glass for like a 240Z, but you can't really buy it for a 78 Colt or a 90 Galant. So that is definitely a...
So product ideas is restoration parts for 80s and 90s cars.
For sure.
Yeah, so...
I don't know how to make them, though, so don't
but
look at me.
it's not like that you specifically know how to make them. It's that you know how to connect the people that know how to make them and build a supply chain for it.
Can we 3D print glass yet?
Maybe out of like epoxy, like plexi or something.
I don't think it'd be clear enough. It definitely wouldn't be glass. It wouldn't be resilient enough.
No.
But, you see like Lexan windows and race cars turn yellow pretty quickly.
Well,
you wouldn't want it in street
they use plastic in airplanes.
And they also turn yellow, don't they?
Eventually.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe with technology, it'll...
Technology.
Advance.
Hopefully. But anyway, so that's where the... I keep calling it a Starion, but technically it's a Conquest. That's where the Conquest sits right now. The car sounds good, too.
Yeah. It's got some weird aftermarket exhaust, right? Well, not weird, but it's like...
I think it's actually an old HKS unit.
Yeah.
So I think it's a legit piece.
It fits perfectly, and it's definitely made for the car.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not a homemade exhaust.
Yeah, it's got a nice dual tip. It looks the part.
Turbo back. Yeah, turbo back.
It's got that... You can hear the turbo pretty loudly, actually.
Cool.
It's got a little bit of a tractor sound to it, but it's a little bit of a tractor motor, so...
Yeah. Well, doesn't the car have a custom turbo, too?
It's got it's an older style aftermarket turbo. It's a modified exhaust side.
Mm-hmm.
They called it a 19C was the Mitsubishi size. So it would have been a 16 something from the factory. And it goes up to a 19C. I'm horrible with turbo trims and numbers, and
I never heard of a 19C, so...
It was common in the Starion Conquest, StarQuest community, probably in the mid-2000s. So
It's got a.
It's good for 300 wheel horse.
It's got half of a
with more mods, obviously.
wideband system set up.
It has the wideband O2 sensor in it. Yes.
That's about it.
It has the whole harness.
Yeah.
All you need to do is plug an AEM gauge into it or whatever.
It looks like it's an AEM one.
It is definitely an AEM one. I know for a fact it's an AEM one because the kid who I got the car from has the AEM gauge, and he said if I buy a new AEM gauge, if I could ship him the wiring harness because he has the gauge, so he took it out of the car but forgot to take the wiring harness.
Okay. He can just buy a harness.
Yeah, well, whatever.
You can buy the harness separately.
Whatever. I'm just.
You can actually buy the AEM one's not. Come to find out, it's not the best one.
No.
For the money, you can buy a better one for about the same money.
All right.
So like tuning the Galant, it's not great. You have to adjust for the variances in the AM where other ones don't need that.
Okay.
So I didn't know that when I got it way before I had ECM Link.
Right.
If I were to do it again, I wouldn't get an AM.
That's the other thing is
I get a PLX. There's
not really much of an like you can see the car how the car is running, but there's not much I could adjust.
Yeah. It's good to monitor it.
Yeah.
You could play with a mechanical boost controller a tiny bit without leaning it out too much.
To a point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a little sketchy, but you can do it without it.
I don't plan on making huge horsepower out of the car anyway, but it'd be good to monitor it. Yeah.
It needs rear axle boots. I think we talked about that.
Those don't exist anymore.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So another thing I was talking to our friend Ron about, because he just rebuilt his.
So people have figured out that...
And he measured them, and then he went to the catalogs, and he found ones that were close. And I forget exactly what model it was, but it was some year Acura. Had a very similar boot, so he bought those boots, and he just finished putting them together. Tonight, actually, they look really good. So.
Well, they're probably within like a millimeter, and then you're clamping them down.
Probably, yeah.
It's fine.
So, we'll have to rebuild those.
Yeah.
So, take them apart, clean them up, re-grease them, repack them, put the boots on them.
It's easy.
It's not a big deal.
Super easy.
Yeah.
I actually do that more often now than buy CV axles. Because, again, with these older cars, the listings, for some reason, are incorrect now.
So
they never used to be, but now they are.
Do you want to take that to another story? We'll
Sure.
get off of the Conquest right now.
All right.
So, trigger warning alert. Radwood is coming up. Sorry, people that don't want to hear about it. But Radwood in Austin is coming up.
Yep.
And I'm driving there.
Yep.
My initial plan was to take my Sapporo.
Yep.
But I'm a little nervous about that now because of the salty weather up here. I don't want to drive it through the salt.
Yeah.
So
when you originally said it, I was like, it's in February.
I know, but I was like, whatever, I'll get out of the salt real quick and I'll just clean it and be good. But the more I think about it, the more it makes me nervous. So we'll see what happens. I have a few Radwood era cars. But I have a second Radwood era car that's near enough to completion that I can get it done in the next couple of weeks. I have that 97 Saab 9000.
Yep.
Which needs axles.
Yep.
They're clicking like crazy. They've been clicking like crazy for a long time.
Yeah, so they're beyond rebooting.
So they're probably beyond rebooting and repairing. There's a few trim levels of Saab 9000s.
Yep.
The one I have is the second to last year, so it's a very late model, and it's a 9000 CSE turbo 2.3 automatic. The listing for a 97 Saab 9000 lists two different axles, and they're both listed for CSE turbos. And they're not broken down between automatic or manual or any other reason for existence.
Did you check any of the local European parts places?
No, I didn't.
Like FCP Euro?
I did not. Maybe I should have. But I was looking at them, and the specs on them are, one of them was like, what did it say, 19 and a half inches, and one was like 19 and 9/16.
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell is
I was
that?
like, that can't be a big enough difference to even worry about, first of all, because that's the compressed measurement.
Yeah.
So they have play, because they go in and out when the car turns. Yeah. So if you have...
The suspension goes up and down.
Yeah, if you have a 16th of a difference, like literally that's a 16th, it's not going to make a difference overall in the part. So that didn't help me any good.
And also, why is it not millimeters? Jerks.
Especially for a European car.
Yeah.
Yeah, stupid.
Because then how would you even measure a CV axle?
You can't measure it. It's compressed length.
You'd have to...
You have this worn out, beat up old axle. You're not going to be able to measure like the compressed length when it was new. It's just not going to happen. Whatever. I don't care. So I can't figure out what the right one is. I can't figure out a difference in these two things. Both pictures look almost identical. The descriptions of both parts are identical. So I looked the listing up elsewhere. Same problem with the listings.
I looked up elsewhere and it just said manual automatic.
But I never even saw a difference from manual and automatic. Because there is no difference, turns out.
And there is no difference left and right.
Which they're at the equal length on both sides,
Yeah.
which is cool. So I called my local parts store. They weren't of much help.
Why would they be?
Whatever. I gave them praise on the Conquest stuff. So, and also their axles were $200 a piece,
Phew.
and these ones on Rock Auto were $49 a piece. So
Yeah, but they were $100 to ship them.
actually, it was
And 8 days away.
$13 shipment, 7 days. I'll get to that part of the story in a second. Hold on. So I wound up joining a Facebook group today for Saab 9000 owners.
Oh boy.
Yes, I went deep. It was super helpful. It's like the most mature Facebook group I've ever been involved with. Probably because they're Saab 9000 owners, and mostly college professors.
Yeah.
So I went in there, I asked the question, like very clearly, exactly what I wanted.
You didn't search first.
I did search first. 100% I searched first.
Okay.
Definitely searched first. I put axle in as a search, and every search that came up was car for sale needs axles. Car for sale, new axles. There was no specifics or anything like that. So unfortunately, that didn't help. I did search. I'm not a total noob. Two guys answered my question. This is the frustrating part. So we might not even still be true. The later cars, so 96 to 98,
Yeah.
with the 2.3, he said, look at the pictures. He goes, one of them will have a slightly larger, there's like, they call it a tripod that goes into the transmission.
Yeah, it's the way
That's what it seats into.
Yeah, it's a tripod joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all CV axles are constructed basically in the same way.
So the tripod joint, he said, if you look at it, one of them will have slightly larger ends on it. You should be able to tell from the picture. So I pulled the picture up, and I can see, yeah, one of them does have a slightly larger end on it. He goes, okay, the majority of 96, 97, 98 Saab 9000s have the larger joint. He goes, but it's not a rule. I was like, great. So it's one of those situations where if the car was built on a Tuesday after lunch and they found the old parts lying around, they might have used the old part in the old axle. So there's really no way to tell until you take it apart, I was told. He said, but probably 98% of them use the larger style ones. So I took a gamble. I ordered the larger size ones. If they come in time, which they should, based on this next part of the story, and they're the correct ones, likely that car will go to Radwood, not the Sapporo. Because I'm not as concerned about it. So, your shipping thing with Rock Auto?
Yeah.
It was $49 a piece, and it was $13 to ship them in 7 days. Didn't want them in 7 days. I want them for the weekend. So I went on Amazon. Amazon had them for $75 a piece, but did not have Prime shipping. So it was $150 plus $25 to ship them. So it was even more money. So I went on eBay, and they were $60 a piece, and it was $10 to ship each one. So we're looking at 60 and 60, 120 plus 20. It was $140 to ship them, and that was 3 to 5 days. So I went back to Rock Auto, and I was like, well, how much would it cost to get them shipped DHL 2 days? And it was $40. But $40 was less than them shipped in 5 days from eBay. So I said, screw it, I'll pay $40 for shipping, and I'll have them on Thursday. So we will know soon enough if they fit the car or not. And if they do, I'll go through the rest of the car, change the fluids, clean it up, because it's been sitting for like a year, and that'll be what gets driven to Texas.
Cool.
So, or maybe I'll just stop being a pansy and drive to Sapporo, but probably not.
So, yeah, tripod joints, according to Wikipedia, and this makes sense because it's the way I see them all the time, they're used on the inboard side
Oh, 100%.
because they have less travel.
Yeah.
They have less movement
Less movement.
than the other type of joints.
But if you look at the picture I sent you earlier of the two axles, you can see the difference. The one on the bottom is the correct one. They're slightly larger. So
I believe the outer ones are typically called, the correct name is a Rezepa joint.
Rezepa?
Rezepa. Interesting.
I've never gotten that into it before. I've always just ordered the part, put it in the car, and called it a day. I need the CV joint. I don't need to know what each piece of it's called.
Well, I like the flex disc. What is the funky name for the flex disc? That's how you name a Guibo. I love the Guibo joint.
Oh,
that's my favorite car part.
Like a rubber-mounted isolator, like a drive shaft isolator. Yeah,
because the engineer name was Guibo.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Those are common in BMWs, aren't they?
It's a flex disc, but they call it a Guibo in BMW.
But I was saying BMW people call them Guibos.
A rag joint would be the same.
That's what they call it on old American cars.
Because
it
was literally made out of rags.
While listening to their ragtime music.
No, it's like when you look at one.
I'm going to work on my 44 and rag joint. We're going to listen to ragtime music.
Yeah, cool.
But anyway, so that's my quick story about axles and potential plans in the near future for driving one car or the other.
Oh, here's another neat fact. Another name for a CV joint, homokinetic.
That's interesting.
Yep.
You should go to the parts store and order a homokinetic joint.
Just use all the weird names for it. A turbo encabulator.
Yeah. I have a car. I need a homokinetic joint, and I also need the Guibo that goes in the end of it. Yeah. That would confuse everybody. My biggest argument over parts once was I had a gentleman who called me when I was probably 19, and I worked at a parts place, and he asked me for a stepper motor.
Yep.
I didn't know what it was.
It's a throttle body.
Not a throttle body.
What is it for then?
It was the...
It's just an actuator motor. It's just,
yeah, exactly what it is.
But like an idle air control motor.
There you go. That's the one. IAC. It was an IAC.
That's a stepper motor.
Stepper motor, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd never heard it called that before. And 19-year-old me didn't know what it was. And that guy went up one side and down the other, yelling at me about how I was an idiot and how he couldn't get the part for me. And it's like, whatever. It's literally not called that in the catalog. I've never dealt with it before. I can get you an idle air control motor.
Yeah, eventually you get to a point when you're dealing with enough parts, people will ask for one thing and you just translate in your head what it's actually called.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like an escutcheon? Escutcheon is like a...
Escutcheon.
Escutcheon.
Escutcheon. It's the cover over like a door handle.
Yeah.
Or a door lock.
That's the other thing. So in like a Japanese...
Escutcheon.
Escutcheon, yeah. In a Japanese parts catalog, they're very proper with the names.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll say like escutcheon on it, and nobody knows what the hell that is.
Yeah, well.
So
the reason I know what those are is because...
Or like a garnish.
That's just a piece of trim.
Yeah.
In the 80s, like a Cadillac, the Cadillac crest would slide open to put your key in the trunk.
Yeah.
And they called that an escutcheon. And my mom, all through the 80s, had an 82 Cadillac.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad calling it that, so...
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm blanking on them off the top of my head right now. But just different ones. Like a drip rail on a modern car.
Yeah, they don't have drip rails.
It's not really a drip rail.
It's a roof molding.
It's a roof molding.
But some people still call them drip rails.
Or sometimes in the catalog, this will be called drip rails.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Or like in a parts catalog, like we talked about this actually one day in the car. In your body parts catalog, lists stuff differently than the parts catalog of the dealership.
Oh yeah, super.
So like when you call me for stuff, you're trying to ask me for stuff, and I'm looking for it, and it'll be in totally different places.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're looking for like underbody shields. Those in the catalog would be under like loose panel, but they show in your system like
a radiator support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like air guides that go around the radiator are in like loose panel. They're not in the radiator.
In the radiator section in my catalog.
Section.
Yep.
Yeah. So that it's like little things you have to learn like that to navigate the catalog.
Also, even the crash catalogs are different by manufacturer of the catalog.
Yeah.
So I use a system called CCC1, and it's different from somebody who uses a system called Autotex. Because mine breaks it down very far. So I have like a front bumper section and a fender section and a hood section, whereas Autotex has front panels,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all in one section.
Yeah.
So
And actually, most of the parts catalog systems now are made by the same company in Germany. I forget the name of the company.
Mitchell, Reynolds.
Nope.
No.
No. But, like, the Audi Volkswagen one was not that far off from the...
The Etka.
Yeah, Etka. It's actually, that's the company.
Oh, ETKA.
Yeah, it's not that far off from the Mitsubishi one, because that was made by a German company, the new version, ASA caps.
It says that Etka is just the Volkswagen one.
All right. Well, there's a company that makes it, and I'm blanking on the company because I haven't worked in one of these systems in a while. But it's a German company that does most of them. And like I remember sometimes you get a super like a car that was like weeks old, like it just came off the boat,
Oh, it still happens.
and you'd put the VIN in and it wouldn't come up.
That still happens.
You'd have to decode it because after the dealer rep would tell us, he's like, yeah, well after they have like downloads like every so many weeks or whatever. They download all the VINs from the factory, and then they ship them over to the catalog system, and then they update it, and then you get your catalog updates. It used to be on discs, which was super annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like almost daily.
We still have discs for our paint guides. Super annoying. So when you paint a car, obviously every car has different cost associated with the paint on the car,
Yep.
based on what tints and what colors go into it.
Yep.
And our paint guide still comes on a DVD-ROM every month. So you put the exact paint time on the vehicle into that guide. You put the year of manufacturer, the manufacturer, and their color code, and then how many hours of paint time are on the estimate.
Now you have to mix the paint in-house?
Yes. Well, you have to because it's variances. You could have two 2018 Toyota Corollas.
Painted
And
a different...
take the fender off one and put it in
times,
the
yeah.
other, and you can see a slight variation in the color. So it has to be mixed in-house because you can't buy a paint mixed elsewhere. And
All right, how does...
match it.
Here's a good question. How does the guy match it to the paint that's on the car? Is it some sort of... You just do it by eye, or does he do...
You have a guide. Most shops do it this way. You have a guide that tells you exactly how much of each base and tint to put together to make the color. You put it on basically a mixing stick, and you put a little card at the end of the mixing stick, and it's called a spray out card.
Yep.
Just spray it out, put the clear over it, put it next to the panel, and then we have this little sun gun, they call it.
So,
which
yeah, it's calculated for sunlight.
which replicates sunlight.
Yep.
And you put it against the car, and you can see how off the color is. And then a good painter knows how to modify that to bring it close enough for what we call a blendable match. Because generally we blend into, and all body shops do this,
Yep.
they blend into the adjacent panels in order to make the color. If there is any variance, there won't be a hard edge from a door to a fender.
Yeah, because
They'll
that's... Especially like bumper covers, you see it.
Bumper covers, you see it because you're painting over a plastic instead of over a metal, so it works differently. Bumper covers are going to be different from the factory when you look at them. But we blend out, feather the paint into the adjacent panel, and then re-clear the adjacent panel as well. There is a piece of equipment called a color eye. It's very expensive. Most shops don't have one on the shelf. Usually the paint rep will have one. And if you're having a hard time matching a color, they bring this machine in called the color eye, and they literally put it on a flat panel on the car, and it formulates the exact formula of that paint by some kind of electronic wizardry that I don't know. It takes like multiple pictures from multiple angles to get the amount of metal flake and all that stuff, and calculates exactly how to make it match.
Magnifies it or something.
I don't know how it works. I'm not the painter. I know what I know, but I don't know everything.
No, that's interesting.
So
And then the
we
difference...
rarely have to do that. There's a few manufacturers that have some tough to match colors. A lot of times it's some of the problems comes from a lot of times one color is more transparent than another. So it's actually your base color that affects the top coat more.
Yeah.
So that's another issue you have to deal with.
What's the hardest color to blend? Or hardest types of colors?
It's hard to
Is it
say.
metallics, or is it the new, like, sort of solid pastel type colors that they have now?
Your car sucked.
Stephanie's car.
Yeah.
The blue, the khaki gray.
Yeah, we painted that a couple times because I wasn't happy with it. A, because it was your car, and B, because I wasn't happy with it.
Yeah.
Because it's that pastel blue, they call it cool gray khaki.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's like a robin's egg blue. That was tough to do. Metallics are generally harder because it all depends on how the metallic lies.
Yeah.
It's going to totally change the color if the metallic falls a different direction on one panel than another. The hardest car I've had to paint in recent memory, I don't remember the exact code, it's a gray Mazda color. And the problem with it is that you make this exact color and everything looks perfect. And then you put the clear over it, and it totally transformed the color.
Huh.
The metallic in the factory paint was so fine and so small that we just couldn't replicate it with the stuff that we had. We had to get it specially made from the manufacturer.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because I know, like, in model car paints, they'll use smaller flake.
Yeah, to replicate a smaller car.
Yeah. Huh.
But, yeah, no, it bothers me more than some people, color on cars.
Yeah.
I could paint 2 bumpers totally different colors and put them on a car, and most customers wouldn't care. I just don't like doing that.
So what's the difference with plastic bumpers? What makes that
I don't know
harder to
what
match?
the material
Is it because you have to add the flex to it?
You don't really use flex anymore.
No?
No, it's... I mean, yeah, insurance companies, we use flex. Please keep paying for it in every car we do about recover on. It's just something to do with how the product is prepped. You know, you have a softer material, and the primer coats and everything are going to sit differently on it, and every coat underneath the paint is going to affect how the paint looks.
And then everything's water-based now?
Not everything, but it's going that way. We're water-based.
Huh.
The funny thing about that is that even though all these shops are quote-unquote green, and we're spraying a water-based, quote-unquote, again, non-toxic material,
Yeah.
clear coat is still solvent-based. So it completely negates
And there it's
the
like
whole
a
process.
2-part clear with
Yeah,
hardener and
it's got a
stuff?
hardener in it, yeah. And there's different hardeners for different temperatures and different humidities, and
Huh.
there's fast hardeners,
So it's actually
slow hardeners.
there's a ton of science to paint a car.
It's not
and
easy
and
at
that's
all.
why it's so expensive.
It's very expensive.
When everybody's like, "Oh, I'll just get my car painted for like $500." It's like, well,
Yeah, you can.
when
yeah,
when you go to a shop and they do that, they literally just spray.
honestly, the general rule for most average quality insurance work body shops is $500 a panel to repair and paint a panel. That's a rule
That
of
makes
thumb.
sense.
Yeah, $500 a panel.
Yeah.
You have a fender and a door, it's going to be $1,000.
Yeah. And
I mean, and that's going to obviously change based on, that car has got double-sided tape moldings that rip when you take them off, and you got to buy a $150 molding as well, and it's got an emblem on the door, and I got to buy a $75 emblem, and
Yeah.
people are very shocked when they find out what it costs to repair a car.
yeah.
But that's also why your car insurance is multiple thousands of dollars a year, because somebody keys one side of your car, they're paying us $3,000 to fix it.
Yeah. And
So-
that's why people do fraud like that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That could be a whole episode, but that's a short little synopsis.
No,
of,
that was good.
and the technology changes every day.
Because I know
So-
there's a lot of people that are interested in that. So
I mean, when you get down to it, some of these paint jobs, a simple paint job and a simple color for an overall car, I could easily have $3,000 to $4,000 material on the car, not counting labor, not counting.
just a paint job. Why does it cost so much?
Yeah, well, that's why.
Hey, I get some Craig Craigs. Don't tell me.
Craig Craigs
Don't tell me.
Craig Craigs don't tell me.
Yeah. Let's get
Sure.
into that.
I pulled a couple up as well. We talked about doing it.
All right. You ready? I'm going to start with one.
So I think we're going to do this. We tried it the other way.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to our original way. But you're going to do a description, and then if I don't get it
We'll do yes,
in
no.
some kind of a timely manner, we'll do a...
Want to do 2 minutes again? After I read it?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, we'll do a yes, no, like a... What was that game we had as kids? Guess Who?
Yeah.
Is the man wearing a hat?
Well, I don't want alarm. I want stopwatch.
Yes.
Okay.
Your alarm goes off every 2 minutes. Listeners would get annoyed.
All right. Here we go. 1 ton, rare, 2-wheel drive, full 4 doors, long bed, low mileage, 454 Chevy Blig Block.
Oh, it's a Chevy, so you already blew it.
All right. TH 400.
Yeah, turbo 400 transmission.
All right.
Or it could be a GMC.
What do you think it is?
So, is it a late 70s? 78 or so GMC 2500?
No.
No, okay. That's the whole description.
Yep.
What region of the country did you find your cars from?
Well, this one was from Anchorage.
Alaska.
Yep.
Does that play into the guessing here or
I don't
not?
Yes, no questions.
Is it a GM product?
Yes.
Okay. And it's obviously a pickup truck, you said long bed.
Yes.
Is it a Silverado?
No,
What?
it's not a Silverado. Doesn't say Silverado in the ad, so I'm going off the ad.
Is it 70s?
No,
Is it later than 70s?
no,
So it's not a Silverado.
no.
It's also not a car that came factory 4-doors. Somebody made this a 4-door.
Okay.
So that's going to open us up to everything. Is it like a 53 Chevy pickup on a 1986 Chevy pickup frame?
No. Keep going with the decades.
60s?
No.
50s?
No.
20s?
No.
30s?
No.
40s?
No.
Wait.
Go higher.
70s.
Newer.
I said, is it 70s?
Yeah, it's no.
And then I said, is it newer than 70s? And you said no.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
So
Sorry.
you completely threw me off.
Yes, so it's newer than 70s.
So it's 80s, so it
Yes.
could be a Silverado.
You know it's a Chevy.
I know it's a Chevy.
It's from the 80s.
It's got to be a Silverado because that's all they had. And it's a 4-door Chevy pickup.
Yep.
How am I getting this wrong?
I don't know.
It's a Chevy pickup truck.
It's a 1-ton.
1-ton Chevy pickup truck with 4 doors.
There's a model, though.
Top kick.
You're so close. All right.
Cheyenne.
I'll give it to you. C20.
Okay.
That's all it is in the ad.
Well,
It's a 4-door red C20.
do you know what a C20 is?
No.
Do you know what a K20 is?
No.
Okay. So 20 is the range of truck, so that's your 1-ton. Yeah.
Okay.
C means 2-wheel drive. K means 4-wheel drive.
Ah.
So a K10 is a 1500.
Oh, that makes sense now.
A K10 is a 1500 4-wheel drive. A C10 is a 1500 2-wheel drive. A K20 is a 2500.
This thing's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
It's a factory
but
4-door, I think.
I pretty much, yeah, well, it's 80s, it is.
Yeah.
But when you were talking about it was pre-70s, I was like, well, it ain't a factory 4-door. The only pre-70s factory 4-doors I can think of are Dodges. I didn't think that anybody else made one factory. I could be wrong, but I don't think anybody did. And I definitely don't think Chevy did. They did a much heavier duty 4-door, like a 4500 or 5500 series truck, but not a small truck.
All right. I'll just keep going with mine.
All right, cool.
This one you might be able
Listen
to get.
to my questions this time, so you can get so I can get it right.
All right. This one might be a shoe-in. 1500 rebuilt 454,
But another Chevy product,
700 R4,
still a Chevy product.
dual AC, blows cold.
Dual AC, so it's a Suburban.
Okay. What year?
Excellent, 87.
Nope.
Am I in the right decade?
Nope.
Is it a barn door in the back, or is it like ambulance style doors?
It's got barn doors.
So ambulance style barn doors.
Yep.
65.
Nope.
Am I in the right decade now?
Nope.
Damn it, it's 90s.
Yeah.
92.
Nope.
This is ridiculous. Just trying to guess the year. I had to get the freaking truck. In my brain, I'm picturing a black and gray late square body, like 91.
It's a 90. It's
90.
a GMC
Okay,
Suburban square body. This one's from Florida.
Is it black and gray?
No, silver on red.
Oh, okay. Another common combination. Yeah, it's a pretty truck.
Yeah, it's a cool truck.
Yeah.
I'd drive the hell out of that thing.
Was a big block with dual AC? I was like,
Yeah.
that's a
Captain
Suburban.
chairs, 3-roll,
Yeah.
power steering. Yeah, it's cool.
You actually
cool
wouldn't drive
truck.
the hell out of it because you couldn't afford to drive the hell out of it.
No, I probably couldn't.
And yeah, it probably also says 8 miles per gallon.
All right. Next one.
Okay, let's get off the Chevy trucks here.
4-door hot rod sleeper car.
Nova.
Let me finish.
Okay.
350 small block Chevy.
Nova. Okay.
Complete hydraulic roller, L block top end. 700 R4. 10-inch torque converter. 342 Grand National Posi, 10-bolt rear.
Oh, okay. Malibu.
You are close. It's pretty cool. Hooker headers, dual flow masters, manual cutouts, Hotchkiss suspension, old rally wheels, Nardi steering wheel.
So Cutlass. With a Nardi in it? That's baller.
Yeah, it's Cutlass. 4-door Cutlass.
A 4-door Cutlass? What is that, 78?
85.
85. Oh, it's 85 Cutlass, so it's a later model one.
Yeah.
So it's a 4-door G. I hate to see that one.
This one's pretty cool.
So, do you watch Hot Rod Garage
No.
on YouTube? That's pretty badass.
It's a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
I'd also drive that.
Yeah, I would too. listeners may or may not know, my first car was an 85 Cutlass.
Yep.
Supreme. Two-door, though, the coupe.
This thing's pricey at 11.5, but it sounds like it's a
With
pretty
the
good hot rod.
equipment that's in it is probably why it's expensive. The base car itself is not that expensive, but what's in it that makes it expensive.
So I might have made this too easy, but maybe it's more fun.
No, it's...
All right, one last one for
You're
me.
right in my wheelhouse of weird GM stuff. So.
Yeah.
Other than the Mitsubishi and Volkswagen stuff, weird GM 80s stuff would be my next.
All right. Here we go. Car is mostly stock. Has stainless steel shorty headers. Aftermarket mufflers. Was repainted at some point in its life with a nice base clear emerald green.
Ooh, green.
Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. It was originally an automatic. Bought wrecked. Car with rebuilt T5 and transferred all the required parts over.
T5.
Yep. Torque boxes and struts are rust free.
Torque boxes.
Yep.
Okay.
Some light rust coming through the rear hatch. AC blows cold. Heat is hot. Has sunroof, cruise, power windows, block seat mirrors. New parts added in the last 1.5 years. So front rear shocks, rear quad shocks. That's a big...
Mm-hmm. I know this car is already.
Yep.
Would you like me to say it?
Sure.
It's a Vox body.
Yep.
Emerald green is
Yep.
a factory emerald green, so it would be a 91?
92.
92.
Pretty car.
That is a pretty car. Does it have a white interior or a gray interior?
Gray.
Nice.
It's a very nice looking car, actually. I like it a lot. It's got the silver ponies.
Yeah, that's nice.
LX hatchback.
When you said strut box there, it was
Yep.
that might get that giveaway.
Torque boxes, yeah.
Torque box, sorry, yeah.
I love an LX hatchback.
I love an LX notchback. I also like a hatchback,
I like
but
the
I prefer
hatches.
the notch.
On ponies. Not chrome ponies.
I like
Silver ponies.
10 holes.
I don't like the 10 holes.
They look like turbo wheels a little bit.
No. I love just a clean, simple pony wheel. Because it's just a 5-spoke. All right, so those were pretty easy.
Yeah, I feel bad now.
Oh, you get really hard ones for me?
I don't think I got any of them.
That's a pattern. I never get them. I'm really bad at this game.
Well, let me start with this one.
I don't know, like, esoteric car shit.
This is not esoteric at all. You do know esoteric car shit. You 100% know esoteric car shit. But you didn't give me esoteric cars. You gave me an old Cutlass, 2 square bodies, and a Fox body.
Yeah, they were cool. I
Yeah.
try to get away from, like, because we always talk about Japanese stuff, so we appreciate a lot of different stuff.
I
so.
have 4 cars here.
All right.
One of them is Japanese.
Okay.
Only one.
All right.
This is not it. First clue.
Okay.
This stunning new blank was built to exacting specifications as a street-legal, purpose-built race car for road racing by Levy Racing in 2017. This car weighs 2,300 pounds with an incredible power-to-weight ratio and dare to be unique at every race event worldwide. Over 120 grand spent on this incredible build.
Oh, boy.
Yes. The blank project actually began in autumn of 1963 when blank, director of special projects, and blank decided they wanted to race a blank.
Is this a Corvair?
Nope.
Is it a Corvette?
Nope. This stunning new
New?
blank, new car.
But started in 1963?
The particular vehicle was designed in 1963.
Is this a Cobra?
Very close.
So is an AC?
No, you're on the right track with Cobra. So I can say now the blank project actually began in autumn of '63 when Carroll Shelby asked his director of special projects, Pete Brock, if he could design a blank for the Cobra.
Is it a coupe body?
Yeah.
It's a Cobra coupe?
Yeah, it's a Factor 5 car.
Oh, all right.
See, look at that. You got it. Congratulations, Andrew. It's very cool. It's $95,000. Probably the most expensive car we've ever had in Greg. Don't tell me. It's also in Gulf colors, and they do not work on the car.
Nope.
It is not good.
Nope.
It's a great looking car otherwise, though. I'd drive it for sure. All right, let's go.
What did it have for an engine?
I just exited out. I didn't
Just a
get that
basic
far.
5-liter, probably?
No, I think it was a big block.
Like a 427?
Yeah, it's something or other. Okay. I'm going to start you with this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a built vehicle.
Okay.
The price of said vehicle is $12,000.
Okay.
There aren't very many of these that
All
would
right.
sell for $12,000.
Okay.
Blank blank Overland built $12,000. This blank blank is an older build, but is very well sorted and needs nothing to go run on most trails in Moab or any other location, and drive there and back with the AC on. New front wheel bearings, Atlas transfer case, twin stick. Let's see what else to say about the vehicle.
And it's not a Jeep.
I did not say it was a Jeep or not. You were making wild assumptions, sir.
It's like a CJ7.
It is not.
Is it like a Cherokee Sport?
What's a Cherokee Sport?
Not the Grand Cherokee.
Okay, so you're right. It is a $12,000
Yeah.
1991 Cherokee.
Oh.
Yes.
Because they didn't have Grand Cherokees in 1981.
Sure they did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, sure they did. But I don't really call this wasn't a Sport, it was just Cherokee.
Oh, they didn't call them. They differentiated them later.
Get your brain out of Montero world.
No, they definitely had Cherokee Sports.
They did, for sure.
I remember.
It wasn't. It didn't mean small versus big. It was a trim level on the Cherokee.
I specifically no. It was small versus big. Yes, it was. A regular Cherokee Sport was a square one. The later Grand Cherokee was the more rounded one.
They weren't all sports, though. You could get a Cherokee that was a different trim package. Sport was a trim package.
Okay. I just remember you get those weird purple ones with
Yep.
like purple teal badges.
Yep. You could also get a Grand Cherokee in that same combination.
Really?
So, as an Eagle Talon TSI previous owner, and a Conquest TSI current owner, and a person whose Instagram screen name is TSI, they released a Jeep Grand Cherokee with either purple or aqua badges, and those purple or aqua badges said Grand Cherokee TSI.
Yep.
Which doesn't make much sense.
Nope.
Because there's no turbo in that car.
Tune Sport Injection.
Tuned, yeah, whatever. It was turbo.
Yeah, so you're again, Mopar or no car.
Listen, I have lots of knowledge of lots of cars. A lot of them are Mopars. Okay, this is my favorite one.
All right.
All right. Blank blank, 20 grand. Information about the blank blank. Original owner, Terry Anderson, was a drag racer in the 60s,
Okay.
and then transitioned to desert racing for Mickey Thompson in Southern California.
All right.
Attending a race at the Los Angeles Coliseum in 1988,
This is a Baja Beetle.
decided to build, it is not, another race car to compete in stadium racing. This would be a special racing build for Mickey Thompson's Off-Road Championship Grand Prix for stadium racing in Southern California.
Ooh.
At the time, no blanks were participating in stadium truck racing. The build. Terry met the blank division racing representative, John Erickson, at SEMA while in Las Vegas in November of '88. Terry and John struck a deal, and they decided to become sponsors to build his races and to follow. Original Terry and Blank designed the engine to sit behind the driver's seat. This is important to create a mid-engine car for balance, with more weight over the rear end.
Ooh, interesting.
A lot of unimportant information here about the differentials and ring gears and yada yada.
Is this like a 240Z that was converted to like desert racing or something?
It is not.
It's Japanese though.
It is not.
It's not Japanese?
It's not Japanese. Let me give you a couple of clues.
I thought you had one Japanese vehicle.
I did. I have one more after this. We can
Oh.
get to it. I'll get to it. It's fine. This was a factory-backed project.
Okay.
So they started with a brand spanking new car.
Okay.
It started in '88. The car is actually 2 years newer than that. But it's a factory-backed vehicle.
Is this an AMC Eagle?
In 1988? What world are you in?
I don't know.
It's no wonder you don't get this game very good.
It's not like a. It's not a Dodge or a Chevy,
It's not a Dodge or a Chevy.
Jeep.
It's not a Jeep. The engine was furnished by Blank, and Blank Motor Division sent a Super Duty cylinder block to put in the car.
This is a Pontiac?
You're on the right track now. Once the engine was received, it was sent to Shutter Engineering, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, what would Pontiac have back then? Like a
To turn into a stadium racing truck.
what? What the heck would Pontiac have back? Like a Trans Am?
Nope. To speed things up and save money, we used a 72 Chevy pickup frame and suspension. The chassis was
like a Biscayne or something? Not a Biscayne.
The chassis was then set in the frame of the pickup with shocks from Fox Racing.
It's a Catalina.
We're in the 80s, man.
They had Catalinas back then.
Not late 80s, they did not.
What was the Capri Space thing?
Bonneville.
Bonneville.
Or Parisian.
All right.
Yeah.
A Le Mans.
Nope. It's a very obvious one.
What else did Pontiac have?
The trial race is
GTO?
1990. Nope. No, GTO's in 1990.
Oh, 1980? 1990?
The car's a 90. Yeah.
Is it a Trans Am?
It's not a Trans Am. As I said last time you asked for it was a Trans Am.
Whoa.
This is my favorite thing ever.
What on earth did Pontiac have back then that would fit?
On a Chevy truck frame?
Yeah.
I want this thing so bad.
That wasn't... So it's a full-size car.
I mean, define full size.
Well, what was their full-size car back then? It would have been the Bonneville.
Okay, go a little bit smaller than full size.
A Le Mans?
It's one of your most
Tempest?
hated cars of all time.
Oh, they had a Pontiac version of an El Camino?
No, not that. Not that hated.
I don't know.
They raced him in NASCAR, man.
Oh my God! What were they? Grand Prix?
Yes, it's a 1990 Pontiac Grand Prix Stadium Super Truck.
So like the rear-wheel drive Grand Prix?
No, it was a front-wheel drive
Oh,
Grand Prix.
front-wheel drive.
Yes.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to send you the link to this thing because I want it way more than I should.
Oh, you should post that to the Facebook page.
Yeah, I probably should. It's pretty good.
That thing is wild.
Yeah, I just sent you the link right now. Yeah, it's a 1990 Pontiac Grand Prix Stadium Super Truck. So this would have competed in the races that had like Iron Man Stewart's Toyota and like the Ford Ranger factory-backed Ford Motorsport Ranger and all those cool trucks that we used to play in video games. And this one guy's like, we're going to use a Grand Prix.
Weird. Super weird.
Yeah, but that's all. I think it's enough for tonight. I think everybody's had enough fun.
Oh, that thing is dumb looking. It looks like a Lemons car today.
Yeah, but that's a factory-backed racing project.
It's so stupid.
I love it so much.
So stupid.
I love it so much. Well, as we all know, I'm moving to Arizona very, very shortly, in a few months, right?
Yeah.
What would the better Arizona vehicle be to blast through the desert than a jacked-up 1990 Pontiac Grand Prix?
Oh, just about anything.
With a big V8 in the back.
Yeah, just about anything.
No. Nope. Nope.
A Beetle.
Nope. That's the one right there.
Ugh.
If it wasn't $20,000, I'd be sending an email.
All right. As always, follow us on Facebook, Off Topic Podcast. On Instagram, Off Topic. Follow me on Instagram, TSI. Nope.
Ah, wow, one beer.
Yeah, I'm tired. Me, Race and Anger on Instagram. Follow Brad.
TSI SS350.
We're talking about it so much, I had it in my brain.
Quick programming note, there will not be an episode next week.
We'll be back on the week of the 18th of
Yes.
February. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses. Analog and